Yes, Kaushal, I'm a person I don't know well, but otherwise, well, see, I don't know him. But, thank you so much, Kaushal, for agreeing to speak here. And maybe you don't know me, but I'm sure we're friends.
Thank you, Feminist Faculty Collective. I extend my solidarity to. This is not working. Okay, hello. So I'll start with.
अरे एक माइक्रोफोन भी ठीक नहीं आ पाया आज।
Okay, yeah. So like I have written 7 points on which I'm gonna speak, and like because it's 7 minutes, I'll speak like 1 minute each. Okay. Yeah. But I'll start with the like how like see I became who I am right now. Okay, so like earlier the I would say like the sex wasn't the issue in life because you always have sex behind the doors, right? So the issue with me was majorly of gender. And right now also, like I told my parents that, this is the scene, I'm with a guy, okay, and they were like, oh, that's fine if you're gay, but why are you wearing sarees? There's so many gays who are gay, but they don't wear sari. So like, the issue, and then obviously I read Butler, Troubles, and then I found out why my parents are troubling, like, why is it troubling them so much? So yeah, but it does trouble people, and also like, so I'll speak about the other stories later. So like the first question which I'm sure I won't be able to answer is, what is queer feminism? Okay, but like, but it goes back to there is this entire chronology, like what becomes the subject of feminism, and because now we have entered into 2000, and like the rise of, I would say, queers. So then what becomes the subject of queer feminism? But like I would just say it that, anyone who challenges the heteropatriarchal standards, norms and institutions which are built on those on the same like reasons of patriarchy, heteronormativity, I think those persons becomes the subject, and like taking into account their existence would be what I would say a queer feminism. But obviously this answer is very like vague, so you may go and read it later. Next is like I want to point out to the fact like this queer activism vis-a-vis women's movement in India and across, because there has always been a tussle like within women's movement also, and like if you look at like how NAS Foundation, when they filed litigation in Supreme Court, there was also this entire debate of public-private. And right now also the judgment of 377 was read down after there is a right to privacy. So like this again, and then there was also a division of this lesbian subject, okay, and that's very important to point out, even though like I belong to a collective of this campus, but I'm still male assigned at birth. And there have been like all these queer collectives which have existed in campus and across country. There's an erasure of women. And like, but again, in women's movement, I'm pointing out there's this categorization of women being proper and improper. So they understand the political subject of lesbian as a woman, which is okay, good. But the pleasure which and the desire for which the same lesbian woman is working for, that is held accountable. This is held as an improper subject. And this has been there, and also like then again the notion of trans women, and which is also like queer activism should also be accused for it, because there was this very recently London Pride March in which few of the lesbian women's group, they came up with the pamphlets that trans women are no women. So like, and that's also something which we are struggling for. Also like this has been the struggle like in the entire struggles of feminist movements, women's movements and queer movement, that we look onto the law and the nation state. But like, so like when 377 came, so many of my friends called me and like they tagged me on Facebook on this, "Aaj to tum azad ho gaye." And I was like, okay, yeah. But then I remember few of my friends, like they had a party for me in which they literally asked me to not wear sari. So yeah, so like because whenever like even these identities may be later or maybe now are recognized by the state by law, but they still work in the framework of heteronormativity, which is like the basic structure that would always be behind any law. Okay, yeah. So also this government has introduced this Transgender Protection of Rights Bill 2018, which is like a very horribly written like bill. So we from Hasrate also like, and there was this national campus queer alliance was made in which we came up with a statement against the bill. But like there are few points I wanted to raise here because like there was many people from this campus and specifically from left groups obviously because they will only go, right will not go. They went to it and they shouted the Nara Hum Apna Adhikar Mangte Nahi Kisi Se Bhik Mangte, and the most important thing which the Hijra community is fighting in that bill is that begging is criminalized. So the begging is itself an adhikar here, and they're shouting the Nara, and then many of the trans women were looking back, okay, what is this happening? And also this, like, we also have this issue with the Naras of, Sharam Karo, Sharam Nahi To Doob Maro. That's also as many as even Janki has mentioned about, like, what are these bodies who are always regulated and disciplined to do sharam? And that's also something we take into account while we are entering into, say, queer politics or like, say, era of queer politics. A brief history of JNU queer politics. There was one group, Anjuman, before us, which have had which faced like quite a lot of violence on the campus because that was also the time. After that, there was this Dhanaka queer collective on this campus, which also no more exists. When I joined the campus, that was the last meeting, and now me and certain friends of mine have made this like Hasrate, which is a queer collective, and we chose the name Hasrate because like I mean many from campus have came to me and asked me, why did you choose the name Hasrate, because it's so pessimistic, and because it is it literally translates into like the desires, unfulfilled desires, and like that's exactly what queer politics is. As Naisargi has also pointed it out, that it is like you're desiring something or you're imagining something unimaginable. So there will never be a point at which queer politics, will stop. The desires are like, I would say, indefinite. Yeah, and from Hasrate we are looking for like creating a safe space, which I know that we will fail. I know maybe we are failing, but like I would still believe in the negotiations and the possibilities of this queer collective. With all your support, we may like go in further and like build it more. Yeah, I just wanted to mention about this. So like there is also this expectation from queers. So in the spaces like, say, my friends who doesn't want me to wear a sari when I go to meet them, there's also an expectation of me when I go to these progressive spaces that me wear a sari, right? So there is this thing that you have to look queer enough. But that's also like, it has many faces. Sometimes you don't get dates because you're over queer. But like sometimes people who doesn't look queer, especially women on campus, they are not approached. And that's also something, like it's not something to look. I mean, obviously it is something to look, but it's all not just something to look for. That's also we should take into account. Okay, yeah, I think now I should say Satrangi Salam, if I can say.